Welcome back! My name is Ballerscuba. This is Video Games Over Time! We are still in 1985 and we are still in Xanadu. When I last left off, I said I was going to do some level grinding now that I got some new magic and some new armor. I've done a little bit of level grinding. The problem is they're not really respawning enemies for me anymore. Like, there's nothing out here for me to find and kill. So we're going to go into the next tower. This is tower number 2 of the second level. As you can see, I have 12,000 fighting experience and 10,000 magic experience. I need to get those numbers up to 21,000 and 14,000 for the next levels. So maybe the 14,000 is something I can do. Let's head in here. And I'll get a chance to show off my new magic. This is what I have been working on. I didn't really know what I was getting into when I purchased this magic and equipped it. It is basically needle again, but now it hits everybody all at once, which I'm a fan of, but at the same time, it doesn't really do that much damage. And they are very close to hitting me already. So this is what I've been doing. It's not very fun, but it is effective, at least against lower level enemies. All right, we're just gonna hit you then. Hit you a couple times, and then we will kill everybody else this way. And it's effective for killing, like I said, a large group of enemies, especially if they are sealed off from attacking me, which they usually are. It's not fun, really, but it's effective. It's not particularly entertaining either, so I apologize for that, but this works. So we'll try to do what I can on this dungeon. I'm not gonna lie, this might be the last video depending on what happens. But the fact that I have to do more level grinding in order to level up this magic, because I can't afford the next one, even if I wanted it, is not very nice. And the fact that I can't actually level grind for more money or more food or anything like that, or for experience on my magic or on my armor, really makes me wonder about kind of the balance of the game. But it's honestly more likely that I set up my character incorrectly for this particular version of the game more than anything else. But at the end of the day, like, this is what is effective. And this is the magic that I have. This is the second level magic. Just 2 more, it looks like, and we should be through here. A couple of these guys will die along the way. Just 1 more. And there you go. All right, let's use our... Did I not get any experience for that? Because that should have been 60 times 7. That should have been 420 experience. Maybe it went... Yeah, I think I did get it. It just doesn't feel like all that much. 28 gold. 40. And once again, all of this is technically optional. I decided to just kind of meet you guys here, but at the same time, there is a door that I passed by that's still not open, so I'm not even sure I can make it to level 3. If that's also the case, then I also don't know what I'm going to do. I've killed everything that they will let me kill, and if that's not enough, I don't know what to do. Alright, Kraken that are running from me. Let's go for regular just attacks here. After all, there is a rod in here that can make up for my lack of experience, and these guys give 200 gold. That's what I like to see. These are among my favorite enemies. And I'm doing a ton of damage, right? We're over 400 damage now, when I think before we were at 200 and something. We'll go ahead. What am I at here? I'm at 60 magic. Like I said, I think I got in like 3 fights. Like nothing. Now we're up to 72, so hopefully we can do more damage with my magic, but it doesn't seem to be, like, leveling the same way that other magics do. And like I said, I can't find a lot of information about this game. It's entirely possible I've made the wrong decision, not only in purchasing that, but in, you know, continuing to use it. I don't know. I'm just kind of going with what I can find and hoping for the best. This is the true test, isn't it? Just spam the magic. All right, a little bit better, thanks to that rod. There are 3 rods in this dungeon, so hopefully I can find all of them and get... I would love to get this damage over 100. That would be great. Keep in mind that when we traded it off, Needle by itself was doing somewhere in the range of 250 damage, I think, on average. Maybe 300. And that was only to one enemy. So this is an improvement. It just doesn't always feel that way. But we'll get them down. But if it just kind of feels like I should maybe have bought this sooner so that I could level grind it. Maybe I should have skipped this one and gone to the next level. I don't know, but the next one would have been 1,800 gold, so I can't afford it now. I couldn't afford it when we got into the dungeon, though. And then, of course, I would have to level grind with it a bit before it's worthwhile again. So there's just a balancing issue and a balancing act that kind of goes along with this game. And the fact that I can't really do much more than I have done, or at least it feels that way, at least with the setup that I have, you know, I gotta give the game, you know, a bit of a knock for that. And the fact that the most effective strategy right now is also the most annoying sound-wise is not helpful at all, but I will take all of this experience. 350 experience, it looks like, total. And keep in mind, the number that I'm looking for magic is 14,000 for the next level. Hey, I'm getting gold, you know. I'm making progress, but it just feels like an odd choice to have that sound play. And then to have it hit every enemy, like it's up to 9 times every time I do it. So I don't fully understand the decision-making process. And I'm quickly running out of food. I might have to leave just to get food, which is also not ideal. I believe these are difficult Kraken, so we're going to go for this again. Trying to level it up. Remember last time we were at 72, so we'll figure out where it is after 2 fights. But honestly, if it's not at like 100 or so, like, it doesn't necessarily feel worth it. And then maybe I shouldn't have grabbed the rods, right? There's all this strategy that I think I could go back and redo to hopefully make the game more fun, but at the end of the day, like, it's not my responsibility, I feel, to plan the entire playthrough before I start the game. Over 11,000 though. Over 11,000 experience. And I'm getting the gold. I just hope that I also get food somewhere along the way. And then, of course, I'm not getting the items by killing enemies this way. And it's very rare for there to just be like 1 enemy left when I finish my round of attack. So we'll see what we can do, right? We'll finish exploring this. I should point out that there are such things as Hood Masters. Hoods are scary to me. Hood Masters will actually launch Needle at you. So if you see Hood Masters, be on the lookout for them. And I forgot to check my magic again. Seems like it's getting a little stronger. Not a ton. But the fact that I have to hit these guys like 30 times to win and just spam it before they get to me is the best strategy. You know, it's not what I signed up to do, but it is what the game has allowed me to do. And there's just lots of little nooks and crannies that end up with dead ends, which is probably good. We'll see. I'll have to backtrack after this, because there was a branching path that I didn't take. Alright. 2 more. Should do the trick. And just spam my magic. And I hate that this is like the best strategy. I should also point out that I did go back and attempt to take on the boss that we saw. I think it's like giant kraken. Whatever that big kraken was that we tried to take on, I still do 0 damage to it, even at level 5. Which, as we pointed out, hey, 84, 475 strength though. As I pointed out before, like, I can't really get more experience than what I have right now without going deeper into the dungeons at level number 2 for a boss in level number 1 to still be basically immune to my attacks because I'm not strong enough, I think is not a good thing. Alright, by the power of whatever this attack is called, I think it's Deg Needle. It's less exciting, but it's far more effective. I'm making it much further in these dungeons. And maybe if I made it to level number 3, which I don't even know if I can, I could get more experience and be able to afford better things. Maybe they'll give me better things. I already checked. They don't give me a better weapon or better magic. But yeah, I just don't understand some of the decision-making process of this game, I guess I could say. All right, last one, it looks like. Kill them all. Plus, I'm also never destroying a treasure chest doing this. It just doesn't happen. Just hits everything on screen. They all die. And I got 2 experience for that. 2. Hey, food! I did need that, because I think we entered in with around 1,600 food. So, getting more food will be helpful here. I was kind of hoping this was just like a one-off area, but it doesn't look like it. So now we're kind of going in circles, but that's okay. We'll find everything we can along the way. And the rod now puts me up to 98, so 2 experience for the fight, and then 12 for picking up the item. Alright, kill all the kraken. There we go, we're in triple digits now. Not every time, but sometimes. I'll take it. This is what I was looking to do before I entered the dungeon, but what are you gonna have me do? I think, right, we've gotten 2 of the 3 rods, so there's 1 more that I can get. There's also 3 poisons in here, so I'll be on the lookout for that. Now you can all die. Yeah, against the boss kraken, I did try the magic, I tried the basic attack. I found a YouTube video of somebody just using a basic attack and winning, so, like, it's possible. I didn't have context for the video, but, you know, I've seen it happen. I just wish that, you know, at the end of me exploring level 2, I could beat the boss in level number 1. There is no boss in level number 2, but there is a boss in level number 3, and I'm told I'm not strong enough to take on that one either. So, I don't know what that takes. Alright, 3 cave fishers. 3 attacks from me should do the trick. If one's alive, I'll tackle it with my sword, but I would rather go for the magic experience right now. Down you go. Hey, one did live. And cave fishers, they can drop some nice stuff. Why not? Get over. There we go. 500 damage. Almost up to 12,000 experience. And he dropped a lamp, which is useful, but I don't know, not super expensive, not something to get super excited about, but better than 12 gold, that's for sure. And then we have another glove here. And maybe the strategy for the game is to buy like the most expensive weapon you can and never pick up these gloves or rods like until you purchase that most expensive thing. But then it makes things a lot harder for you too. I don't know. I don't know what the optimum strategy for the game is. I have no clue. I'm going based on the information that I have, and sometimes it's flawed. Oh, that's the way out. Did I go left? I feel like I did. Yeah. Okay. So we can head this way, and I don't think I need to deal with that. I still got a good amount of food. Not a great amount, but a good amount. Nope. Yeah, technically this is a tower, even though it looked like a castle on the outside. And now I have to use a key? Yeah, hoods can hit hard, so I'm not dealing with this. For another rod, so it's going to take me a couple keys to get out of here, but they should give me, well, no, they only give me the one key here. And one more, why not? Finish the job. Still not quite at 12,000. And the rod puts me up to 118. I lost the key. I should have checked how much I had. I'm not sure this is going to be worth it. I got two gloves so far. Yeah, there's more gloves. Might be worth it for the gloves. But as you keep going, the game, you know, kind of makes things harder for you. And I never thought of level grinding as a crutch. Right? It's just something you do to get better at RPGs, but in this game, when they take it away, it makes it feel like every other game uses level grinding as a crutch to some extent. Because that's always my strategy for, like, if you're struggling, well, go level grind. But in this game, you can't really do that. So if you didn't set up your character properly when you started, you're kind of screwed. Alright, that is a real potion. How many keys do I have? I have 9 keys, so we're fine. Like I said, this might be the end for me because the game just has too many things going against it lately. Especially the fact that I can get 0 gold out of treasure chests. What is that? And those ravens are some of the hardest enemies in the game, sometimes, at least at this point. Alright, what's through door number 3? No. No. You're forcing me to walk into a poison. No. How dare you? I don't care what's on the other side. I think it was a glove and a demon's ring? Not worth it. How dare you? Which means we're done with this. So, like, we didn't spend as much time here as I thought we were going to. I'm not going up there. Yeah, no, we're done. If this is what you're gonna be doing to me, forget you. I probably could have killed it for the experience, but whatever. We'll see if we can find our way to tower number 3. I have not found it yet, but I also haven't looked that hard. It's supposed to be at the top somewhere. Cool. Are you gonna let me out of here? Hey, there's another enemy, but I can't do anything with it. Now I can. Let's see if I can kill them, because these are sometimes the hardest enemies in the game. But there's 9 of them, which means I get to use my magic at least 7 times 9, so 63 of that sound is what we're in for today. And they are charging me, so this is the strategy I should be using. I'm not sure it's the strategy I want to use, though, but it's the one that I have. Just 2 more across the board, and all of these things should be dead. Yeah, they are... 2 of them are charging me. Which makes me think these are the very difficult ravens. And yes, this was technically an upgrade. It still doesn't necessarily feel that way. Alright, so 450 experience at the end of this is what it's looking like I will get. And I'm about 1,500 experience away from getting the next level for magic. I haven't found the way to level number 3 yet. The one door that I knew about, it's still closed, even though I'm level 5. So maybe it's a door to a deeper dungeon level? I'm not sure if the game does that. I don't think it does, but I could be wrong. Alright, get all that gold. And then we can try to go somewhere else. Not what I was looking to do, but okay. And you might be able to see that there's more shops available in the dungeon, but it's a lot easier to go back to level number 1 than it is anything else. And once again, these guys are charging me, so they hit hard. There's, what, 7 of them? So if it gives 50, then, you know, given 350 more experience, like, I'm on my way. If I can't find the other tower fast enough, I'll go back and show you guys how to get to tower number 4 in this area, which is not apparent at all. But I've already kind of shown it off, but I'll show you officially how to get there. Just over 1,000 to go, though. Like, I want it. I want that level, even though it doesn't do a ton for me. Like, it helps out a little bit, but like the level grinding that I really want to do is per weapon, per magic, per armor, and that's not, I don't know. It's not the way that I like my games to be designed, but, you know, I have a bias when it comes to that. Let's see if I can find anything else. There we go. That's something. Nope. Okay, what could we find this way? There is the tower, so we gotta do this maneuver. And then it's behind a locked door. So there it is. I don't want to use a key to get into that. And that seems to be the only way unless I use a matic. So I do need to go and get food anyway. So let's head back down if I can to and we have to go back to level number 1 is our ultimate goal. And then I can kind of show off how to get to the 4th area. Yeah, I could buy food there, but yeah, it requires so many keys and stuff. That's not the way. Right, it's been a while. No, I cannot kill these. They will give me more karma. But I can jump on top of them and then they don't want to fight. But there's that door I was talking about. It's still closed. So I don't really know what's going on with that. But, oh, and I did explore all the way to the left there. It just leads to another locked door, which I believe leads to a shop. Okay, so I can go through the cave here. And I don't even know if buying a new weapon's going to be really an upgrade for me. Because I need to level grind it in order to make it more powerful. So that's always kind of the issue when I play this game, at least when I'm looking at how to play it, I should say, is that in order to get a weapon upgraded, I not only need to buy it, I need to fight some weak enemies in order to get experience on it so that it is as effective as my previous weapon, and then I can start thinking about an actual upgrade. And I'm lost. It's been a while since I've been here. I don't remember all the little things. Okay, this should take me close. Well, it takes me to food, and that's what I really want. Yeah, I just need food. Okay. And I'm gonna buy a lot of food. There we go, 4,000 food. That'll be helpful. Yeah, do I want to buy the weapon? I have 500 experience on my short sword. When I upgrade it, how long is it going to take before it's the same effectiveness? You know what I mean? All right, so remember this area, and it's kind of hard to figure out what to do because you try to jump up there and then you're just like stuck here. And so I pointed out that the proper way to do it, and I don't understand why, is to just hold 9 from here and then somehow it works. Yeah, so this is the way to the 4th tower in dungeon number 2. So if I drop down here and then enter the cave right there, this is how you get to level number 2. And then you can drop down here and get into the tower. And this is supposed to be kind of the largest one, even though it just looks the largest from the outside. It's not the actual largest once you're inside. It's only got 6 doors, as opposed to dungeon number 3, which had 10, and dungeon number 2, which had 7. But it looks the biggest. That's got to count for something, right? But this is probably going to be our last dungeon. I'll do it as far as I can, and then I'll probably stop. There's just too much that the game has done to aggravate me, to keep me going with this game, which is kind of sad. I wanted to like this game. I really did. And I feel like I gave it a fair shake. Maybe even more than a fair shake. As we get more experience there, 505 to 535, just a ton there. And so maybe once I know that there's going to be like a lot of magic gloves, I believe there's 3 in this dungeon, then maybe it's worthwhile. But I mean, for them to put behind 3 locked, I think it was 3 locked doors, a poison that I cannot avoid, which will half my health, in order for me to fight enemies and get 2 items that I could get so many other places. It just tells me that the game doesn't actually want me to succeed, and they're just pushing and pushing for me to give up. As I fight 8 Kraken. Using my super strong, but super long and somewhat annoying magic. Good news is that it takes less than 10 times each to kill these guys, but the bad news, like, we just have to sit through this. But eventually the Kraken will die. Notice that these are not the ones that run from me, so these are the ones that are running towards me. Looks like it's going to take 3 more. Some of them will die before then, but it's going to take 3 to kill all of them. At least for that first one, yep. And the 4th one. No, he died! Okay. Oh, that one lived with 0 HP. And down you two go. Less than 500 away from the next level on magic. Maybe that will help. Well, it will a little bit, but not sure it's still going to get me where I want to go. Another red potion for me. That'd be great if I could like actually level up my stats the way that I would like, but it doesn't work that way in this version of the game. And ultimately, that's kind of the thing that got to me, is that this version of the game is so much different than the only guide that I could find kind of stated. And that's not... you know what? If it's 1, I will go for the attack. Especially since he's running from me. Oh, he did hit me, but 61 is nothing. Sir Gawain goes down, and we get ourselves money. 100 is not bad. Like, that's not, it's not a, you know, let's go down this way. It's not too bad at all. Really? Really? They have 300 health and hit me for 700. And once again, I can kill the ones in here. It will not raise my karma. So close. All right, there's that. Alright, there's that. Okay. Doors everywhere, but I have a few keys. Absolutely not. They could have 700 health and deal 3,000 damage to me. So let's not mess around with that too much. Just hit them hard, and then we'll get the upgrade to my magic. Yeah, what the guy that I saw beat the final boss, he was doing like over 500 damage to him each time, and just hit him a few times, and then he died, and, like, took a little bit of damage himself, but nothing too bad. So it's I don't think that I'm doing anything wrong. I think that I'm just not strong enough, but that's just my guess. It's an educated guess, but it's just a guess. There's so much about this game that I just don't fully know, and I can't find good and accurate information on. Alright, what am I up to now? 134. I'd love to get it up to like 200 before we're done, but I don't think that's going to happen. How many rods are in here? There's 3 rods in total in here. And to be honest, nothing all that particularly special. There's there's 4 Maddox. That's something. So did dungeon number 2, or sorry, tower number 2 also had a couple Maddox, but Oh, absolutely not. 8 of you guys? And they are charging me immediately. Alright, like 120 to 160, that's not bad. Kill them as quickly as you can. Don't let them get a hit in. Looks like 3 more will do the trick overall, but maybe 2. Nah, it's gonna be 3. Hopefully that one right in front of me dies. Nope. Alright, got away without getting hit. 400 more experience my way. Alright, we'll get the Matic out of there. Yeah, it destroys tiles, so, you know, all those places where there's locked doors, you can kind of find ways around it to get where you need to go using these, but the guide recommends holding on to them, so maybe you need them later on the higher level difficulty dungeons and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Let's see what I can find moving on from here, though. Let's head down this way. For 3, let's risk it. Yeah, he doesn't hit too hard. You just never know. Like, he could hit me for 7 and he could hit me for 1,000 and neither one would surprise me that much. You know what I mean? I just don't know what's gonna come my way. Apparently he can do 8 or like 300 from the same enemy, but I do need to level up my armor a bit so that hopefully this doesn't happen as often. Get a candle and a lamp. There's several lamps in here. I'll take that. And then we will move on. Oh dear, no. Like, they're already gonna hit me, aren't they? Somehow I haven't gotten hit yet, but that could change. Yep, there we go. 46, not too bad, but there are 8 of these guys. And the more enemies there are, the more that I want to use my magic because it hits everything on the screen. And sure, it doesn't hit everybody for a ton of damage, but it does enough. Last one. You guys can all die. Now, I probably should be leveling up a bit of my fighting experience, but I don't think I'm going to get to 21,000. You know what I mean? So I might as well stick with this. And that's one of the things about this game is that you do have to do both. I haven't really talked about that, but it's kind of part of the balancing of this game. You do have to use both your fighting and your magic. You can't go through the game just focusing on one. It's not going to do it. You're not going to get enough experience to make it to the next level. I'll do 1 and then I'll hit them. Because you need not only experience, you need the actual levels from the experience in order to make progress in the game. So if you're focused entirely on one type of experience, you might not be able to get the levels in order to make it to the next part of the dungeon because you killed all the enemies. Does that make sense? Like, if I'm just focused on fighting experience the whole time, right, and I have, what would that be, about 28,000 experience? I don't think that's enough to get me to level 5. Let me check. 28,000 experience. What would that get me? 28,000 experience would get me... Yep, only level 4. I wouldn't even be level 5 right now. And right now, I have enough for level number 6. So, like, you have to not only kind of know how the game works, but you have to plan accordingly. The game is oddly designed. Yeah, these guys can hit hard. So... hopefully just 2, but a couple of them might live. Nope, they all died. And now there's a locked door behind me. They do that to you. It's locked on one side, so you can get caught without keys and stuff. There's just so many ways to lose in this game. If you're not paying attention and you don't know what you're doing. The game wants you to lose. It's just the way that it's designed. Alright, I'll get the lamp. I will not get the poison. At least they do clearly mark the poison. I'll get the 2 Maddox, and then... like, there is more in this dungeon. I feel like I've explored it, but I must have missed something. Alright, I think we came from down here, and I went left and there was nothing there. Yeah, it just kind of loops around here. And then I think that was a lock on the way out. And then I could try to go that way. There's nothing all that great here. I think there's a fire crystal that we haven't seen. I don't know what that does. I have time to look it up, so let's look it up. What does a fire crystal do? It teleports you to the previous level. Remember, we picked up some black onyx that teleports you to the next level. Fire crystals teleport you to the previous level. It also saves the game when you do that, but here you go. Yeah, these guys, they can hit super hard, right? These are why I abandoned the first level of the first tower in this level, because these guys were dealing over 2,000 damage every time they hit me. So I don't mess around with these guys. Alright, let's open these. That would be great. I know my dexterity is not the highest, but let's open these and get my mediocre amounts of gold. It's still crazy to me, the variable that factors in to what's in these treasure chests. How can you have 0 and 40 in the same one? Those are huge differences. And it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm making a ton of money doing this, right? I'm up to 4,500 at the end of level number 2, give or take, right? Because I'll probably need to buy food. I'll probably need to buy health back. I'm just checking my strength, 565. So I'll probably be around 4,500 when I'm done, if I can find more. Let's go for it. God, just straight into me. Yeah, 4 or 106. Little different, buddy. 4 or 309. This is what happens when I don't, like, go the cop-out way. I lose, like, 2,000 health? They did 1. He did 1 damage to me. I don't know. And then all that for 4 gold. And a candle. Candle helps sometimes. There, and we can make it through. All right, what do we got up here? Just hood masters. All right, the fire crystal should be that one. I don't see anything else that would be that shape. But yeah, the fire crystal I think is the last, might be the last thing that we get in this dungeon. And then, yeah, they're charging me, so these guys are going to hit hard. They also move very quickly, if you saw that. That means they're high level. Alright, one more round. If I can get it off before they get to me, then I win. Alright, we'll grab all of that. Now, like I said before, in order to make it to level number 3, I'm told that you need to be level number 5. You have to be level 5 in order to make it to the 3rd level of the dungeon. I'm more or less tapped out of experience that I can get in the game. This would not be enough to get me to level number 5 as a single type of experience. I had to spread it out in order for that to happen. So at this point, if you were trying to focus on one type of experience the whole time, you're like, I just want to be a mage the whole game, you screwed yourself over and you can't beat it. If you take the wrong step, you screwed yourself over and need to reload a save, which costs you money and possibly karma. There's just so many things. If you fight the wrong enemy, and there's no way of knowing that they're the wrong enemy until you actually get into the fight with them. There's just no way of knowing. I feel like I'm looping. How do I get out of here? Here's a way. We'll figure out if it's the way pretty soon. Nope. I wanted to get that level up before I left. But if they're not going to give me the out, then we might not be able to do that. Can I get out of here? There we go. Is it to the right? I think it is. Because that's the way I came before, so it just might be through the locked door that I'm avoiding. And then down here. Yep, there we go, and we're out. Alright, so that is the 4th tower. And then we can just kind of warp back to number 1, because unless you use a Matic, that's the only way to get there, is this thing that only works at this one point of the game. And yeah, I'll be probably around 4,500 once I replenish my food and all that. And it drops me right back down here, which is part of the overall thing. Now, I never did figure out what the healers did. I should look that up. What do the healers actually do? Because they cost so much money. Oh, it's a hospital where you can fully recover your HP. Yeah. It's the only thing that I see in there is just like, don't go there. It's more expensive. Yeah, it's super expensive. So like it wouldn't nearly cost that much if I went to an inn. So don't go to the healers unless that's your only option, I guess. Yeah, that's odd that even exists. Two healing areas where one is super expensive and one is a lot cheaper. But you can do it all at once, I guess, at the healers. That's the convenience factor. And maybe if you're really low on HP, it starts being a little bit more worthwhile. But yeah, not for me, not today. Then we can go all the way back up here because I did want to show off not only me getting my health back. Not that it matters all that much, but... And then it's 330. Yeah, that'll get me where I need to go. And then I can buy more food. Back up to 4,000 would be 99. There we go. So 4362. I did say it was going to be around 4,500. So I could get like another upgrade, but then I would have to level grind with it. And I don't really have any enemies to level grind against. There's a couple here and there, but they cost keys to get to, which is probably more important than the experience. It's hard to say. But I can go to the temple, get the level, go up a level. Now I'm a prestidigitator. That's what we're going to say that it says. So hooray, I'm a prestidigitator. And now my max HP goes up to 24,000. But that's going to cost me some money to get up to. Like everything in this game, like it feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. I might come back to this at some point on my own time, but I think that I need to take a break from this game. So that is going to do it for Xanadu. So didn't make it through most of level number 2 before we even try to tackle level number 3. Remember, of 10, I think that's going to do it. So I have been Ballerscuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Oh, wait, no. We have to do the other one first. With the game played, it's time to talk about how it holds up today. That's the one. Playing the game today, I did have some fun playing Xanadu. There is some fun to be had in the game, and unfortunately, as I continued to play it, that fun kind of went away and I became more and more frustrated by the game the longer that I played it. But the game does have some things that can be enjoyed. There are some fun elements to the game. I feel like I've been a little negative in this video as I was playing the game simply because I got more and more frustrated with the mechanics of the game. So I'll try to be a little bit positive in my review, at least to start, and then we'll kind of go into the negative side that I was experiencing. I did actually take a couple-day break so that I could try to get a better perspective on the game. In terms of the positive side of the game, there are some good positives for the game. The thing that actually stood out to me the most is actually the art. The art for the game is really good, especially for a 1985 computer. The intro that we get, the pictures that we get when we go into the shops, the little cutscenes that you get when you walk into a dungeon or out of a dungeon, whatever, all those little scenes that we got, those are really good. I do really appreciate the effort that was put into those. The ambitiousness of the game, just the scope of the game as a whole. There are 10 levels of a dungeon, which means there's 10 dungeons, each of which has 4 towers in it. So there's 40 mini dungeons in basically 10 dungeons. That's a huge game. There's a lot going on in that game, and that's ambitious. I also appreciate kind of the compilation of a lot of different successful things from other RPG franchises in this game. It combines a lot of elements from Ultima in particular, but also Wizardry, from the Western kind of RPG standard. And then from Japan, it borrows stuff from Tower of Jiraga, Hydlide, of course, Dragon Slayer, since it is technically Dragon Slayer 2, and Dragon Buster, which I mentioned in an honorable mention. It combines elements of all of those together into one package, and it does add some new things as well. We haven't seen anything like that boss fight in any of the other RPGs. Now, of course, I couldn't make that work, but I appreciate that there's basically 3 different ways to fight or to kind of move around in the RPG. There's the way that you move in the dungeon, the side view perspective. There's the way that you move in the towers, which is the top-down perspective. That looks very familiar to a lot of gamers. And then you have the kind of side view boss fight perspective as well. So there's a lot in this game. And it is an ambitious game. It's a large game, and that is something to be impressed about, I would say. Those are kind of the main things that I have to say that are good about the game. In terms of the negative things, there's, of course, a lot of things that I saw and I experienced, some of which I will give the game credit. Some of the problems that I had is that I did not know what was going on. And if I had more information, I probably would have enjoyed the game more. I would love to know what the magics do. I would love to know how to move around the dungeons if I had like a map or something like that, or some sort of guide that was much more in detail than the one I was able to find for all the little hidden secrets and strategies and things like that. Not knowing what you're getting into for an RPG like this that doesn't try to explain it, probably put it in the manual, but I can't find a version of the original manual either. It doesn't help the game at all. With that said, there are some things that I did figure out, or I did know going into the game, that were also frustrating. In terms of like technical quality, I would say that the graphics are a little subpar. They look dated. It looks like a game from maybe 1982 or 1983. It's not on par with Hydlide, which came out last year. It's not on par with some of the other Japanese computer games or really other console games at this point. The graphics, I think, leave a lot to be desired. In terms of the music, it's great that there is music, but if you're just going to put like a 10-15 second loop on the game, it's not going to help if I have to play it for 20 hours. The game probably would have been better silent, and then the sound that happens when you you hit enemies with magic was grating the longer that I heard it. So of course this session and the last grinding that I did, because I had a magic that hit all enemies on screen at once, it just sounded like a buzzer, just bzz, bzz, bzz. Like that's not what I want from a game like this. So that became more and more frustrating as well. Then there's so the technical quality in terms of graphics and sound, I felt did not age well. I feel like they would have been acceptable at the time, but they definitely wouldn't have been good or great at the time. They do look dated by 1985. In terms of the gameplay, this is where I have kind of the most complaints, if you want to call them complaints. Honestly, there are some choices that were made in this game that could be easily fixed or just kind of abandoned, and then the game would be better. For instance, the food. If there was no food mechanic in the game would be better. If I didn't have to buy food, if I didn't run out of food as I walked around, maybe you still get the slow heal. Maybe you don't even need the slow heal. The slow heal was like a non-factor for me at all. When I went to the inn, I basically purchased enough to get almost up to full and then kind of let the healing take care of the rest. But, you know, if I have 1495 HP versus 1500, you know, in my mind, it just rounds. It's the same. So the food mechanic could have been scrapped entirely for this game, and I think the game would be better for it, especially since as you leveled up, the food became more and more important of a mechanic, because I went from needing 2 food every time it cycled to, I think it was 17 when I was at level 5. So I just needed to buy more and more food, so it became almost like a punishment for leveling up. Is you're going to need more gold, you're going to need more food, and so the food, I think, could have just gone away and the game would have been better for it. I think that the experience that you get from leveling up your weapon and armor and magic, I think that also would have been better if it was left out or just transferred between equipment. It's one thing to want to reward the player for using the sword, right? Hey, the more you use the sword, the better you get with the sword. That makes a lot of sense. But then if I trade it for what is essentially an upgraded sword and it's still like the same length and everything, why do I have to start from nearly scratch to get that going? It's a strange mechanic, and it made me not want to purchase upgrades a lot. So it made me want to kind of skip upgrades. Maybe if I'm on the weakest weapon, I don't get the level 2 weapon. I wait until level 3 or maybe even level 4. That way it feels like an upgrade quicker and I'm not wasting experience by killing something with a weapon that I'm not going to be using long term. Those are kind of questions that come up in this game because of these frankly flawed mechanics from my point of view. I feel like they didn't age well, and although there are some games that still use this mechanic, I feel like it being transferable between equipment would have solved the problem, but ultimately I would have scrapped it altogether. I don't think that helps, and I think it would have been better to just incorporate that. If you wanted to use it, incorporate that into your normal level ups, instead of having these kind of experience for hitting every time you get a new level in the fighting experience, then you hit harder with the weapon. The game also has a lot of ways to randomly just screw you over, and sometimes you figure it out really quickly. Like if you go into kind of that bridge looking thing, the arches, and then you wouldn't be able to get out. Hey, you got screwed over. Now you need to reload a save. Sometimes you figure that out very quickly. Other times it takes you a long time, several hours, dozens of hours to figure out you've been playing it wrong this whole time, right? Like I said, if you wanted to be a fighter, a pure fighter, or a pure mage, magic user, you would not find out that you had screwed yourself over until you got to the end of level 2, maybe level 3, because the enemies don't respawn after a certain point, and so you'd be out of experience to be able to get, and if you didn't get enough levels because you were focusing all your experience on one type of level, then you'd be screwed over and you couldn't make any more progress. That I think is a mistake. I don't think that progress should be purely based on your level. Like, let me go to level 3 and suffer for it. You know what I mean? Don't just seal off level 3 until I have the proper experience or something like that. That's my personal take on it, but I think that would be an improvement. In terms of the battling I think is decent, but like I said, the variability between the same enemies, where some battles, let's take the Kraken for instance, the Kraken that I was able to kill, the small ones, some of them would be the easiest fights that I had. I would get a ton of experience. I'd get a ton of gold out of it. I loved those fights with the Kraken because they would just run away. They would never hit me. I could just walk up and hit them and get just a ton of experience and gold. That was great. I loved that. I wouldn't want it for every fight, but that was the easiest fight I had. But then again, another type of Kraken, sometimes even with the same amount of HP, so you couldn't even tell until you were in the fight, wouldn't run away from you. They would charge at you. And if I didn't have the proper magic equipped, I would basically get hit by Kraken on both sides of where I was standing until I was able to kill both of them, and suddenly I'm down thousands of HP because they didn't tell me what type of Kraken I was fighting. So that became an issue. I'm not a huge fan of the idea of me killing enemies to basically set up a treasure chest that I then use as a barrier to protect myself from other enemies. It was an interesting mechanic when I started, but it just became kind of tedious the longer that I did it. It's not the way that I want to kind of set things up, and it was needed. Like, if I did not do that, I wouldn't have made it longer than about an hour into the game. It was absolutely needed that I do that, but at the same time, it just wasn't all that fun to do that. I think having me versus 9 enemies probably isn't the way to go. The game just needs a lot of balance fixes, in my opinion. And to be honest, it needs respawning enemies. Like, I would say in the towers. In the towers, there should be enemies every time I go into a room, or every time I leave the tower and come back. There should be respawning enemies. It shouldn't be, hey, you've cleared out everything, so you're done. That's all the experience that you get. Then there's the save mechanic, which we didn't really talk about, but because I had a workaround around it. So the way that the save mechanic works is that every time you save, which is I think Control Q, they told me, but I had another way of doing it. You hit Control Q, it's free. But if you reload the game, then it costs you 100 gold. And if you don't have enough gold to cover it, it raises your karma. And I did check, according to the guide, there is only one way to get rid of karma, and that's to use the poisons in the towers. So if you accidentally kill the wrong enemy because you didn't know that killing an enemy would raise your karma, you better go find poisons to half your HP every time you use it, and that'll lower your karma by 5 each time. And of course, there's limited amounts of poisons in the game, so you're kind of screwed over. Like, everything in the game feels limited. It feels like every time you level up, the game punishes you for it. Level up, upgrade, anything that you do to make yourself stronger, the game punishes you in one form or another for doing it. So the game just kind of got more and more frustrating the longer that I played it, because I kept on wanting to get to that point where it felt like I wasn't rushed, like I didn't need to do everything as quickly as possible, where I felt comfortable tackling fights, where I wasn't scared that I was going to be up against ravens that did 1/3 of my health in damage every time they hit me, and there's 9 of them, right? Like, I wanted some sort of feeling of accomplishment, and the game never really gave that to me. So for a dungeon crawler, I understand that the kind of constant, difficulty curve, but if you're not giving me any sort of story, you're not giving me any sort of tangible reward, I need to feel a sense of accomplishment more than just, well, you made it to the next level, congratulations. Like, I want upgrades. I want some sort of sense of I'm strong now, but I couldn't really go back and fight the weaker enemies because I had killed them all already. So there's a lot of things that this game struggles with, I feel. Some of which other games have already solved the problems for, so it just kind of feels like this game was a little bit behind the times on some of the gameplay mechanics. And other things are because I know there are so many better examples of RPGs and action RPGs to come. I would even argue by the end of arguably this year, maybe even next year, there's going to be so many better examples of action RPGs out there that this one's going to be easily forgotten if it wasn't for some of the things we're about to talk about. But the game, I think, really does not age well because of pretty much all of the things that I talked about. The graphics and sound are going to be a hindrance to a lot of people from even starting it. And then once you get involved in it, the gameplay mechanics and the lack of information, frankly, that is available is going to deter most other people. So in terms of who I would recommend this to, it would be a very narrow group of people. And it would basically be a recommendation of play it for a little bit. Don't go all the way to the end. By the way, I should mention what the overall goal is. Eventually, I need to kill bosses in levels 3, 5, 7, and 9. There's 4 bosses that are important. The one in level 1, you don't even have to kill. But I couldn't do it. But 3, 5, 7, 9, by killing them, you'll get a crown. When you have all 4 crowns, you can tackle the final boss in the last dungeon. It's a dragon. And then you can get the best weapon in the game, which is a Dragon Slayer. Hence the name Dragon Slayer 2. It's kind of a sequel. But that's really the only connection between the games. So that's how the game ends. I wouldn't recommend really anybody going all the way to the end of that one unless you're really set on it. If you really enjoy the gameplay mechanics and the platforming, which is odd and weird, but once again kind of borrowed from Dragon Buster. But the fact that there's I should mention the fact that there's on level 1, like the only way to get to a dungeon or a tower in level 2 is to use a mechanic that only happens once and breaks the game's rules in level number 1 in terms of platforming. I think it's just a bad decision. I'm not sure if it had to have been programmed, right? It couldn't have been an oversight. Like, it had to have been programmed that way. And as I showed, like, it wasn't just jump from here and you can triple jump. It was jump from here, you won't be able to even double jump, and then suddenly you'll be able to double jump the whole way up for reasons that it never bothered explaining. But back to the recommendation. If you are really interested in the history of action RPGs and you want to see the development of it, Xanadu has a good introduction for you. This is a good marker for where things have been and honestly where things are going. This game is kind of a moment in time when it comes to that. So if you are interested in that moment of time, this does have something for you to offer. Something to offer to you, I should say. But in terms of recommending it to anybody else, I would honestly say no. It really is for the diehard action RPG kind of historical fans and trying to see the development of the action RPG. So I'm glad that I played it, but in terms of finishing it, I probably will never do it. But who knows, maybe I'll maybe I'll do something outside of this project to finish it on my own time or in streams or something like that. But overall, not a game that has aged well, not a game I can recommend to most people. And that's my modern take on the game. When the game was released, Xanadu would be very popular. Nihon Falcom has stated that the game sold over 400,000 copies in Japan. The company claimed that this makes Xanadu the best-selling Japanese action role-playing game of all time, with their argument being that T&E Soft was lying about Hydlide sales numbers. Regardless of the actual record, it was clear that Xanadu was successful, Nihon Falcom's most successful game to date. Critics at the time were also fans of the game, which received several positive reviews in Japanese gaming magazines. Nihon Falcom would attempt to release the game to the United States. Richard Garriott, the creator of the Ultima series, flew into Tokyo to have a discussion about his company, Origin Systems, releasing Xanadu in the United States, while Nihon Falcom would release his upcoming game in Japan. However, during the presentation, it was shown that this earlier version of Xanadu used digitized pictures from the manual of Ultima 3 Exodus. Garriott ended the meeting and sued Nihon Falcom. This lawsuit was settled out of court, and the artwork in the game was changed. However, as a result of this, Xanadu was not released in the United States. Xanadu would receive ports, an expansion, sequels, and remakes. We will keep an eye on some of these as we continue. As for Nihon Falcom, they would use the success of their most profitable game to date to continue to establish themselves in the action-based RPG genre. We will hear from Nihon Falcom again. As for Yoshio Kiya, he would continue to create action-based RPGs as well. We will hear from Yoshio Kiya in the future as well. That will do it for the story of Xanadu for now. My name is Ballerscuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video when we become a ninja.